We are the ninth largest processor in the world in terms of volume. We are number one in the Canadian market with processing more than 1 in 3 debit and credit card payments. And then in the US market, we're in the top 20. So not quite the same market share in the US, obviously, as in Canada. But what we've found is with the US market moving towards EMV, which obviously Canada's been at for a while, our expertise are now very, very valuable here, and it's driving a lot of growth.
Are you coming into the U.S. market utilizing your knowledge in EMV and as a consultant, and then hopefully converting them into a client?
What we're finding is, in the standalone market, people can figure it out, right? So the standalone replacement market is fairly straightforward. In the national market, so the very large acquirers, very large merchants in the US, they're also solving it. But there's this big open space around the integrated market and the software vendor market. Mm-hmm. And that's where we're seeing they are coming to us in order to help them figure out how to cost effectively drive integrations to EMV-enabled terminals, because it changes a lot of what they do in terms of those integrations. And we're also helping them solve for PCI scope reduction.
So you guys are obviously going through a channel. You sell through a channel, obviously, going through the ISPs. Do you feel that the ISPs are behind the 8-ball, per se, on this EMV migration because they're just kind of lost and they don't know what to do for their clients?
Oh, I don't think that, I think that there's a mix. So there's the ones in the, I'd say in the MPOS space probably skew more towards they've figured it out, they've got an integration. We're working with a number of them, mm-hmm. and they're using the disruption of EMV to replace legacy POS systems. So those guys, I think, and we've been working with a number of them for the last year and a half, and so there's a bunch of those that are ready. And then you move into this other space where you have these other providers that built an application 10 years ago, sold it to merchants, and they I think need more help. And that's where we're also seeing a difference. So they're looking to retain their market share as opposed to the attackers on the mobile side.
Okay, great. So you're coming in as a consultant to help them keep churn down, keep their clients,
exactly,
and offer them more value. So where do you think we are in the U.S. with this EMV migration?
I think the U.S. market's made a tremendous amount of progress over the last 12 months. At the end of this year, I think that I've heard numbers around 40% terminalization, but so much of it's greenfield, right? There's so many merchants that only ever had a swipe, mm-hmm. and they're now moving to a terminal and a PIN entry device, and that's really going to change retail, mm-hmm. and that'll take time. That'll be a longer tail to get done. But again, for the little guy, they just order a new terminal and they're there. It's going to be these integrated larger merchants that I think are going to take longer, and you'll see adoption lag in some of those areas.
Do you sell equipment or do you resell equipment?
No, we're not in the hardware development business. Now we do deploy terminals to our customers, right? Mm-hmm. So we support the Ingenicos and the Verifones of the world, and we deploy those. We can also support accessories to help merchants set up and things like that. So we can ship all those things, but we don't manufacture hardware. We're more of a software company and processor.
So you're middleware, and do your customers use your software?
Correct. So we supply a piece of software that runs on the point of sale terminal in the integrated space, and that does the end-to-end encryption, and that provides the tokenization and insulates whatever the software vendor's software is from PCI scope, and then it connects up to our system.
So I've heard today a couple of the processors are helping the clients streamline the PCI process. Are
Sure.
you guys offering any type of services like that?
Absolutely. And what differentiates us, and really what differentiated us and driven a lot of market growth for us in Canada, was that we didn't collect a bunch of third parties in order to deliver it. So we're a one-stop shop. We're actually the only processor that can actually self-certify on MasterCard and American Express for EMV. So they don't even have to go out and get a certification. So we can cut the time and cost out of that piece for them, because when EMV, and I don't think there's even a program you can sign up to anymore, but when they were trying to get EMV off the ground, we were first in market in Canada and had a lot of capabilities, and we've maintained those capabilities. So we just simplify it. So there's lots of vendors that solve a piece. we can solve it end to end, and we're not relying on a third party for any of our deliveries.
Oh,
Other
that's
than the
great.
hardware piece, which obviously we buy from the manufacturers.
Right, right. So how many of your clients that you have have shifted to EMV?
In Canada, 95%.
Okay,
Even higher, but kind of like 95% is a safe number.
Right.
The bulk of those are also contactless, so they'll be Apple Pay ready for when Apple Pay comes. In the US market, it's a smaller percentage.
okay.
So we will probably track to the industry average by the end of the year, but it's a longer tail. So we're working through the certifications with these providers, and then they go out and approach their merchants and need to do the swaps, and that takes some time.
So are your clients ready to take Apple Pay?
Anyone that we're deploying an EMV piece to, we're deploying to support contactless and Apple Pay.
Okay.
Even our MPOS, we launched prior to Apple Pay a solution, an Ingenico terminal that connects up to an iPhone, for example, via Bluetooth, and can collect payments. And we chose to invest in a device that supported contactless because it's so predominant in Canada, and we'd been pushing it hard. And so as we came into the US, there wasn't that much interest in contactless, and then along came Apple Pay, and all of a sudden it made that decision seem all the better.
Right, right. Well, it actually, yeah, it just validated the whole mobile payment
Sure.
piece of it.
Yeah.
So do you offer any other type of cloud-based services with the service suite that you have?
Absolutely. So we think, there's a core of transaction processing, which is required and requires security and all those things. But we're really looking in the integrated space to have an ecosystem. So we've got an exclusive deal, for example, in Canada with Sage, the largest accounting package in country. So we also support our own inventory management, but also other companies with inventory management. So we're looking to be able to provide an ecosystem and options to our customers. I think that's great. I appreciate your time. I think, if you want to find out more, it's Moneris.com.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of content on our website around EMV and white papers around that migration. And in particular, in that integrated space, we really think we bring expertise that can help move the market quicker.
And you also have a U.S. space. It's based in Chicago, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah, we've got a few hundred people in the U.S. It's
Okay.
we leverage technology that we build in-house. Largely it's built in Canada, but it's all very applicable now to this market thanks to EMV. And, we're seeing, that expertise is pretty scarce. It'll change over time, but right now there's a scarcity of expertise around that.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much.
Sure, thank
And
you.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.